And we are back, and we are with Trooper Ross Brennan, the Public Information Officer for Troop C here in the area. And good to see you again, Trooper Brennan. How
Same
are
to you. I'm great.
Just another fatal accident that I saw coming through on the release, and seems like we've been talking about these a lot, but do you have any information on that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was just here talking about the one in Assumption, the three car with that pregnant female that died. But we had the fatal crash that we responded to. It was August 5th on Saturday. Troopers got called about a two-vehicle crash on Highway 308 near East 104th Street down in the Galliano area. And so when troopers arrived, we discovered that there was a southbound Ford F-150 on 308. And while it was in a marked no passing zone, it began to pass a Ford Expedition. And as that vehicle was passing that Expedition, it ran off the road to the left. The driver, 46-year-old Junior Benavidez Mendoza, tried to steer back onto the roadway, but steered too much and ended up colliding with that vehicle that he was passing. That caused both vehicles to end up travel off the roadway into Bayou Lafourche, and they both overturned. Unfortunately, Javier Regoza Nava, he was injured in that crash. He was the driver of that Expedition, that vehicle that was being passed by the other one. And he was transported to Lady of the Sea, where he ended up succumbing to his injuries. As troopers were talking with the driver, the one who was passing that other vehicle, they did detect signs of impairment, and they did the sobriety test, which he did not do well on, and he voluntarily submitted to a breathalyzer exam, which showed that his blood alcohol concentration was nearly 2 times the legal limit. So, of course, he was arrested for driving while impaired, vehicular homicide, passing in no passing zone, and also for having no driver's license.
And this is going to be a tough way to ask this, and I certainly don't mean this for any nationality issues or whatever, but do you find, especially with new citizens coming in who may have come from a different way of life or may have had certain cultures that were different where they came from, do you find that sometimes those weigh in, you say impaired? We have our share of impaired drivers, period, in South Louisiana, but are you finding more of that? Because it seems like we're reporting more on that.
I think maybe not even just nationally, but even just outside of the state too. You have people that come down to our area, and they might not, realize how, devastating these types of crashes can be because you are impaired. I mean, Louisiana is known for a party state, so a lot of times you have these, whether they're coming here to live or tourists, they come down to the area and they start drinking these alcoholic drinks, and they think they can just get on the road because it's all having about a fun time, right? But I mean, there's consequences that come with those poor choices. So, I mean, we're as far as this year goes, we are doing better when it comes to fatal crashes. But I mean, this crash alone right here, I mean, easily could have been preventable. Somebody would have made a better choice.
And that's a great point you make, Trooper Brennan, because it's all about perception. I know that y'all do a tremendous amount. You go to schools and have programs on drinking and driving. It's been, I mean, I can remember, I've told you stories and other trooper stories that back in the day, we knew every back road on how to get home. But then there's sort of been an educational process where our younger brothers and people's kids sort of tell them, you can't do that.
Yeah.
They're designated drivers. So there is probably a misconception from people coming in from other states and other countries that it is a party town. But y'all do a tremendous job, and y'all have held people accountable for a long number of years.
Yeah, we try. I mean, just this year alone, the last number I got so far this year, we've arrested nearly 400 impaired drivers, and that's just within Troop C. And Troop C is one of our smaller troops within the 9 across the state. I mean, and I think that we're number 2 in the whole state when it comes to impaired driving and getting these people off the roadway, arresting these impaired drivers. So our troopers are definitely out there hustling, but it definitely takes the whole community to make those right choices. Not only is it on law enforcement to go find these impaired drivers, but it's those people to prevent these crashes and getting on the roadway, whether it's on alcohol or drugs too, for them to make those right choices. So it really takes all of us working together to be able to combat these figures and numbers.
We talked about Hurricane Ida and sort of what it did to the area and how it affected all law enforcement, sort of changed the way y'all had to morph into helping out with that. Are y'all starting to get back to normal with your patrols and with everything else? And have you seen the influx of people that came in to help sort of go to other places to help?
Yeah, as far as the traffic on the roadways, it seems to be not as much as what it used to be, especially after the hurricane. A lot of people were, whether they were moved up here from the lower parts of the parish to come to areas where it wasn't as damaged. But we find the roadway is not as packed as it used to be. Now, granted, we also got a lot more construction, so sometimes it might feel like there's a little bit more traffic on the road because lanes are narrowed down. But I mean, even this morning, our troopers were out there doing the speed enforcement detail on Highway 90. We actually had the airplane flying in the air, being able to clock speeders and stuff. So, like I said, our troopers, they transitioned from that recovery to going back to business and stuff and try to keep these roadways safe, whether it be impaired drivers, lack of seatbelt use, and also speeding vehicles and other dangerous driving behaviors.
All right, there you have it. We appreciate you coming on in the next segment. We're going to talk about new troopers.
We do. We got two.
Yeah, coming in. So we'll do that now. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, look for the other segment on the new hires at Troop C and the new troopers, because you'll be seeing a couple of new faces. So what we'll do now, we'll take a break, and we'll come back on HTV with the segment right after this. On YouTube and Facebook, you will see it as separate segments. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back with Trooper Ross Brennan, Troop C, right here in the area.